The food, the art, the clothes. We put this show on the road. The Vatican getting exposed. You better stay on your toes. Repo, tilling the land, focus on the ego. Open my heart, let go of the ego. Ran out the grind, I'm stacking up these C-notes. Facts, facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts. Found out the hacks, put it in the rap. Facts, facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts, facts. We in your city, pull up where we at. Facts.
And that's facts though, I talk factos. Ask J Babe, I go Astro. Floating focused on my cash flow. We plant star seeds to make the grass grow. I'm a refloater, I do what I wanna. Stacking the winter, sunbathing the summer. My chakras align and I shock them like Blanco. Only Pope will acknowledge a nigga is Paulo.
At these events, I'm a god to my people. Got out the streets, yeah, we dodging a Rico. Game of roulette, I'm a casino. The game wasn't fair, yeah, the odds wasn't equal. Squad got the Chico, my squad got the Chico. Game in a drought, yeah, they starving the people. Blaming and doubt, make it harder to eat, yo. Not a placebo, this not a placebo.
The food, the art, the clothes. We put this show on the road. The Vatican getting exposed. You better stay on your toes. Repo, tilling the land, focus on the ego. Open my heart, let go of the ego. Ran out the grind, I'm stacking up these C-notes. Facts, facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts. Found out the hacks, put it in the rap. Facts, facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts, facts. We in your city, pull up where we at. Facts, facts.
Started in Richmond, art in my district. Heart of the mystics, parted for biscuits. Father the isfits, martyr the misfits. God is my witness, God on my hit list. Moving the weight, we started with fitness. Moving with states, we art of the richest. Give me the blues, my heart is in Memphis. It's part of adventure, started my venture. The F is for food, the A is for art. The C is for clothes, I'm playing my part. T is for check, I'm playing it smart. S is for shelter, I stay in the park. Acres are acres, get lost in the dark. We playing a part, we playing it smart. Facts, facts,
okay.
Yeah.
The food, the art, the clothes. We put this show on the road. The Vatican getting exposed. You better stay on your toes. Repo, tilling the land, focus on the ego. Open my heart, let go of the ego. Ran out the grind, I'm stacking up these C-notes. Facts, facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts, facts. Found out the hacks, put it in the rap. Facts, facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts, facts. We in your city, pull up where we at. Facts.
It's a movie, it's a movie.
The food, the art, the clothes. We put this show on the road. The Vatican getting exposed. You better stay on your toes. Repo, tilling the land, focus on the ego. Open my heart, let go of the ego. Ran out the grind, I'm stacking up these C-notes. Facts, facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts, facts. Found out the hacks, put it in the rap. Facts, facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts, facts. We in your city, pull up where we at. Facts.
And that's facts though, I talk factos. Ask J Babe, I go Astro. Floating focused on my cash flow. We plant star seeds to make the grass grow. I'm a refloater, I do what I wanna. Stacking the winter, sunbathing the summer. My chakras align and I shock them like Blanco. Only Pope will acknowledge a nigga is Paulo.
At these events, I'm a god to my people. Got out the streets, yeah, we dodging a Rico. Game of roulette, I'm a casino. The game wasn't fair, yeah, the odds wasn't equal. Squad got the Chico, my squad got the Chico. Game in a drought, yeah, they starving the people. Blaming and doubt, make it harder to eat, yo. Not a placebo, this not a placebo.
The food, the art, the clothes. We put this show on the road. The Vatican getting exposed. You better stay on your toes. Repo, tilling the land, focus on the ego. Open my heart, let go of the ego. Ran out the grind, I'm stacking up these C-notes. Facts, facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts, facts. Found out the hacks, put it in the rap. Facts, facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts, facts. We in your city, pull up where we at. Facts, facts.
Started in Richmond, art in my district. Heart of the mystics, parted for biscuits. Father the isfits, martyr the misfits. God is my witness, God on my hit list. Moving the weight, we started with fitness. Moving with states, we art of the richest. Give me the blues, my heart is in Memphis. It's part of adventure, started my venture. The F is for food, the A is for art. The C is for clothes, I'm playing my part. T is for check, I'm playing it smart. S is for shelter, I stay in the park. A acres on acres get lost in the dark. We playing a part, we playing it smart. Facts,
okay.
yeah.
The food, the art, the clothes. We put this show on the road. The Vatican getting exposed. You better stay on your toes. Repo, tilling the land, focus on the eco. Open my heart, let go of the ego. Ran out the grand, I'm stacking up these C-notes. Facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts.
Yours, peace to you and yours. Peace to you and yours. Oh, can you hear me? Can I be heard? How is the audio? Let me know.
To this day.
Man.
To this day.
Ooh, they playing with my body. Let me know how we looking on the audio. Trig the God, what up? Let me know how we looking on the audio. We are in the motherfucking building. Yes, we are. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We are on the motherfucking Finsta. You know what I'm saying? We got to broadcast from the Finsta account because YouTube said that I put up hate speech. I uploaded a video last week on Tuesday that our good brother Blue Pillar, shout out to Blue Pillar 44, who's celebrating a born day with me, his twin brother, the Red Pillar. Yeah, we'll get into that in a minute. But they said that I was spreading hate speech. I uploaded a video called Pink Panthers versus the Black Panthers. It's a dissertation that Blue Pill had, and he was asking a lot of questions. And I guess Algae Rhythm deemed that to be offensive, and they went about censoring my page, and and gave me a fucking strike. You know what I'm saying? So once again, the main page is being penalized because we are in an environment where we're not allowed to speak our minds, and we're not allowed to be our true selves. It is a level of frustration that is hard for me to even explain in English terms or words. The level of frustration that one feels when, you have to tippy toe around subjects and topics. It's almost like somebody is muffling you and whatnot. So I've been shadow banned on all of the major networks. I've been demonetized on all of the major networks. I've been delisted, and now they're threatening to take my page and whatnot, which doesn't really bother me too tough. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. It's not about the platform, it's more about the network. You know what I mean? It's more about tapping in with with my audience, with my KT aliens, more so than anything. I could really give a fuck about the whole YouTube thing. It is what it is, because this is not the only platform that they've built on the internet. Contrary to popular belief, there are multiple platforms that are out there, but of course YouTube is the big dog of town. The same way that I remember Netflix being the dominant platform in that space, but as you can see over the years, they got competition. They got stiff competition. The Disney Pluses of the world, they on their back. You know what I mean? The Amazon Primes and whatnot. So it's going to be in the near future, there's going to be some disruptors that are going to come onto the scene and make YouTube look like MySpace. One of the components of it is going to be the inclusion of your content on the blockchain, right? One of the pet peeves that I have with decentralized platforms like YouTube is the fact that this is not my content. Once it's uploaded on their server and whatnot, they have full rights over it. They could recreate it. They could put it in a documentary later on down the line. They could take my dissertations and insert it into movies, and I'll probably never get any type of publishing checks or anything for it. It'll be sole property of Google/YouTube. And as we know, in the climate that we're in, that's going backwards, right? That's moonwalking to what the fuck the universe is showing us, because everywhere that I turn, the writing is on the wall. And what is the writing saying? That you niggas need to own something. You know what I'm saying? You need to sacrifice the ease of the carrot that these corporations are dangling and whatnot, because at the end of it, it's still a fucking trap. You're being tricked to give these people all of your data, your intellectual property, creative control, your images. All of these things are being utilized against you. Build your own shit, or go to where something is built where it offers more, like equity and some other things that you could utilize when you playing a motherfucking long game. But playing around on YouTube is not playing a long game. So I said it before and I'll say it again. I want to thank the people at YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Meta, whatever you want to call them, for being fuck niggas, because that helps me get my mind right. You know what I mean? Whenever they do some fuck shit and play themselves and show their hands, right? Because when they were trying to beat up on the little guys, nobody really cares about that. There's no reaction. People just say, hey, dust yourself off and try it again. But when they do it to Kyrie Irving and Ye and other people that everybody is breaking their necks looking up to and whatnot, then the motherfucker's like, I can't sleep at night. I'm feeling Ye's pain. You know what I mean? Well, shit, feel my pain too. How's the sound effects? You hear the sound effects? Talk black to me. Let's do a roll call. You know what I'm saying? Let's do a roll call. We still have family in the building that I want to see where everybody is and where we tapping in from and whatnot. I want to say thank you, every single person that's in the building tonight. Tonight is a special night. It happens to be my birthday. It's my anniversary. Yeah. It's not an echo on the sound effects. It's coming through the computer, right? Because sometimes you could be hearing it picking up from the mic coming through my headphones. Is it an internal sound? Like, does it sound clear? Everything good? Okay. Everything good? Spring Valley, Rockland County, New York. Trigger the God. Okay, so Trig, you were in that area, Rockland County, with the Hasidics, right? The Orthodox Jews. Are they live near you? Are you familiar with that? Me and Blue Pill was just building on an article about that community. Very interesting community, I promise you. Very interesting. We'll talk about them one day soon. Okay, one day soon. Delaware in the building. Shout out to Delaware. Salute to Delaware. All right, the Lenapes. Okay, you live in Spring Valley. Okay, dope, no doubt. Yeah, we're gonna build on them one day and break that shit down. Toronto in the building. Rome in the building. The sound is superb. Nashville, Tennessee. Get that shit straight, y'all. Charlotte, you know we coming to your town, right? You know we pulling up to Charlotte. As a matter of fact, it's time for a little commercial break. Let's get to the commercial, then we'll get back to the roll calls. Y'all, whatever city y'all broadcasting from, y'all tapping in from, check in. It's time to check in. Whack 100 voice. Charlotte, coming up. Got a few days, baby.
Okay, so the food, the art, the clothes. We put this on the road. The Vatican getting exposed.
Eventbrite, Facts Friday, Charlotte, Eventbrite, Facts Friday, the whole strong end. We're gonna be there for 3 days. We turning up. Y'all ask for it. We gonna give it to you.
You better stay on your toes. Repo, till in the land, focus on the ego. Open my heart, let go of the ego. Ran out the grind, I'm stacking up these C-notes. Facts. Okay, we gon' put this shit on our back.
Play it again.
Facts. Okay, so the food, the art, the clothes. We put this show on the road. The Vatican getting exposed. You better stay on your toes. Repo, tilling the land, focus on the eco. Open my heart, let go of the ego. Ran out the grind, I'm stacking up these Cenos. Facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back.
Charlotte, pulling up on you, baby. All right, pulling up on you, baby. Washington, D.C. Shout out to Washington, D.C. Wichita. Shout out to Wichita. Denver. Salute to Denver. That good air out there. Chicago. It's a movie. Shout out to Chicago. I see you, brother. Yeah, man. So real quick, man. Today's my born day. Me and my twin brother, Blue Pillar. It still kind of freaks me out that people don't know that we're twins, but hey, you know, whatever. I don't know. I be trying to think like, damn, people don't like you hear about one pill and not the other one. Like, weird. That's weird. But anyway, me and Blue Pill turned 47 today. I'm definitely honored to be, this is a milestone, what I'm saying, to reach this this special number, what I'm saying. We knocking on 50, what I'm saying, half a century. And that shit don't even register when I think about it. I'm like, wait, what? Like it doesn't really register because, shit is weird, bro. You know what I mean? Like I don't feel nowhere near it, but that's what the calendar says. So I guess that it is what it is, but these are rotations and whatnot. And with every rotation, it's assumed that, you're supposed to be picking up a little bit of experience and whatnot. Dark Lord, what's good with you, my brother? Salute. All right. So it's been said that with these rotations, you pick up experiences, and you develop what is known as wisdom. You know what I'm talking about? Yes, you put it in the Discord. Can you share the link on your IG story so the people could tap in? Yes. I will do that right now. Let me copy that. But the Jews gentrified this bitch at 5 months. Be the Jew. Happy birthday from Bakersfield, California. Man, salute to Bakersfield, man. Salute to y'all. I see ya. Give me 1 minute, y'all. I'm on my promo run real quick. I'm multitasking while I'm talking to y'all. I gotta go into copy this link. Then I gotta paste it into my Discord just to let the good people over there know that we on a backup account. They got me on my motherfucking Finsta because they real fragile over here in social media land these days, especially with young melanated men speaking their mind, grabbing their nuts, and not apologizing for speaking their truths. You know what I'm saying? They have a problem with that, rightfully so. They have something to hide, right? Whenever you see people reacting and censoring and going crazy and acting all Karen like and whatnot, it's because there's something that's being hidden. They're hiding something. And what are they hiding? They're hiding the fact that we're going through this quote unquote awakening. They don't want you niggas to wake up. They want our people to be sleeping forever because it's beneficial to them. They found a way to monetize every time we traumatize. So that's the game. That's what they about. You know what I mean? Traumatization and monetization. They don't want us to do anything else other than that. That's an algorithm that they kind of like tweaked and whatnot. So they like, shit, if it ain't broke, we ain't finna fix it, But of course, we have come along and we're calling bullshit bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Like we're here to disrupt all of that. You know what I mean? We ain't going for that. We like, nah, we want better for ourselves. You know what I'm talking about? We definitely want better for ourselves. So that's what we're doing. Happiest of birthdays. Thank you, Karain. I really appreciate that. You know, today is a day of reflection. Today is a day of introspection. Today is a day of looking forward. I've said it before that I utilize my born day as my quote unquote, it's my calendar. It is my New Year's and whatnot. So you know, that's how I see it. My year starts today. You know what I'm saying? My New Year starts today. Although I subscribe to the Gregorian calendar, you know what I'm saying? Living in America, you know, I subscribe to the Gregorian, and you know, we fuck with the fiscal years and shit like that. So yes, January 1st is the beginning of the fiscal year. I'm a man in business, okay, a business owner of multiple entities and whatnot, serial entrepreneur. So the fiscal calendar, it speaks to me. We don't want to deal with the conspiracies. And yes, I do adhere to the first day of spring and whatnot as being nature's New Year's, but my personal New Year's on this path is today, November the 14th. You know what I'm talking about? And I'm able to measure the growth and development and how far brother has come from last year this time. So I've said it before and I'm going to say it again that this year, this shit right here, this shit right here. Yeah, this year has been challenging, fam. You know what I'm saying? This is a real year, man. This was a real year. This was and on many fronts, like spiritually, emotionally, financially, mentally. Like this year, this shit right here, you know, this has been a very interesting year. And I kind of already like it didn't come as a surprise because after 2021, based off of the research that we were doing and shit like that, it was kind of already projected that this was going to be a rough year. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, you know, I wonder what 2023 is going to look like. uh my spirit tells me it gets greater later. You know what I mean? For the people that stay 10 toes down, the shit will pay off for you. And to be honest with you, for 2022, it wasn't even one of those 10 toes down type of years like we had in 21, where everybody was basically being pressured to take the Jabberwocky, right, to shoot up that Jesus juice. That was the challenge for 2021. 2022, it was more of a personal, internal type of struggle I see, you know? And many people are able to push through. We call it the dark night of the soul. I'm going to pull up the definition for the dark night of the soul so we could do a little bit of, you know, collective reasoning, you know what I'm saying? A little bit of collective reasoning. Maybe I could help assist some of us who are on this journey and don't understand what they can't articulate what this journey is. You feel me? They can't articulate what they know that they on a journey, but it's hard to articulate what exactly that journey is. You feel me? And I'm gonna break it down. Yeah, you and your son, the young god, tell the young god that the Scorpion King says salute. You know, I'm talking about keep the stingers up and whatnot. Stingers up. Salute to the young god, man. Stay safe, stay dangerous out here. You know what I'm saying? Hmm. So let me pull this up. Let me pull up the Dark Night of the Soul so we can read it a little bit. Shout out to everybody that came to class yesterday with me and AA Rashid, the master class. That was very lit. You know what I mean? Very, very lit. We'll touch on that in a minute. So we talked about the hero's journey In 2020, I started speaking about that more extensively on both Clubhouse and on YouTube. I had to do some research on one of the lectures that I was presenting. I believe it was either American Gods or Fear of a Black and More Messiah, which helped me to go and revisit the book by Joseph Campbell, A Hero with a Thousand Faces. Now, I've learned throughout the years, it's through the teachings of our good brother Ross Ben, along with a few other of our master teachers, and they would break it down whenever you see Heru or hero, that ultimately is Heru, right? And that also could be a derivative of Hercules and whatnot. So when I started tapping into Joseph A. Campbell's book, The Hero with a Thousand Faces, I reinterpreted that to be the hero or the Heru with a thousand faces. And I was able to correlate how many of the blockbusters that many of us grew up loving, right? Some of us are infatuated with the storylines. Movies like Star Wars, right? Movies like Lord of the Ring, these epic tales and whatnot. They have done a real good job at fleshing out the hero's journey narrative. It's been reinterpreted in script, right? In either theater or film, right? It's been adapted into movies the same way that the Asaurian tale or the Asaurian myth, the story of Horus, Asar, and Aset, okay, and also Set, right? One of the oldest stories that have been told on this planet, and it gets revised by many different cultures and whatnot. But the Asaurian tale or the Asaurian myth is proliferated throughout Hollywood. They keep telling the same story over and over and over and over again. Okay. As a matter of fact, let me bring it up for some context, right? It all has everything to do with this Scorpio, the time that we're in right now. Okay. All right, let me pull this up for you. Because sometimes people are on their journey or they're on certain paths and they can't articulate what the fucking path is. And that could lead to pathologies, go crazy and whatnot, because you cannot define what it is that you're going through. You lose your mind because you can't relate to your transformation and your growth and development. So you sometimes could just lose it. You feel me? You could lose it. You could throw it all away and whatnot. You could jump off of the cliff, not realizing what it is that you're going through. So with doing the research and having something that's in a book or something that you could research and pull up and whatnot, that can help you with your overstanding, your understanding, your understanding about your personal journey, right? Your dark days and whatnot, your challenges and shit like that, your hurdles. You feel me? If you don't have anything to reference it to, you could be out there just blowing in the wind. Some of us can relate to friends, family members, and even ourselves when we've gone through this. Okay. So what I offer is an anchor, somewhere, some research that you could utilize to ground yourself. Okay. Because this is a journey that we're all going through. Nobody is judging, right? This is not an easy journey, though. Easier said than done. This is a walk, not for the weak hearted or for those with weak legs and whatnot. This shit could break you down. Okay. So, hero's journey. In narratology and comparative mythology, the hero's journey or the monomyth is the common template of stories that involve a hero who goes on an adventure, is victorious in a decisive crisis and comes home changed or transformed. Immediately off the rip, wartime stories through Hollywood, right? Wartime tales of the young meek warrior who goes to battle and comes home a national hero, right? Sure that we could relate to these stories or these arcs because we've seen it in many different many of our favorite stories and whatnot. Earlier figures had proposed similar concepts, including psychologist Otto Rank and amateur anthropologist Lord Raglan. Eventually, hero myth pattern studies were popularized by Joseph Campbell, who was influenced by Carl Jung's analytical psychology. Campbell used the monomyth to analyze and compare regions. In his famous book, The Hero with a Thousand Faces, he describes the narrative pattern as follows. A hero ventures forth from the world of common day, hamster wheel, right? Groundhog Day. A hero ventures forth from the world of common day, hop off the porch, I'm outside, I'm in the trenches, right? I hopped off the porch. A hero ventures forth from the world of common day into a region of supernatural wonder. Mr. Anderson, when he follows Trinity in the White Rabbit to meet Trinity, she takes him down a rabbit hole, introduces him to Morpheus, and then the adventure begins, right? He's on his hero's journey. You know what I'm talking about? A hero ventures forth from the world of common day into a region of supernatural wonder. Fabulous forces are there encountered, and a decisive victory is won. The hero comes back from this mysterious adventure with the power to bestow boons on his fellow man. Campbell's theories regarding the concept of the monomyth has been the subject of criticism from scholars who have dismissed the concept as a non-scholarly approach suffering from some source selection bias among other criticisms, right? So the summary of the book, A Hero with a Thousand Faces, Campbell summarizes the narrative pattern of the monomyth as follows. A hero ventures forth from the world of common day into a region of supernatural wonder. Fabulous forces are then encountered and a decisive victory is won. The hero comes back from this mysterious adventure with the power to bestow boons on his fellow man. Campbell describes 17 stages of the monomyth. Not all monomyths necessarily contain all 17 stages explicitly. Some myths may focus on only one of the stages, while others may deal with the stages in a somewhat different order. In the terminology of Claude Levi-Strauss, the stages are the individual mythemes which are bundled or assembled into the structure of the monomyth. The 17 stages may be organized in a number of ways, including division into 3 acts or sections, departures, right? Also separation, initiations, sometimes subdivided into A, descent, and B, initiation, and then number 3, return. In the departure of the narrative, the hero or the protagonist lives in the ordinary world and receives a call to go on an adventure. The hero is reluctant to follow the call, but is helped by a mentor figure, right? So, Lord of the Rings, right? You got what's his name? Bobby, whatever his name is, right? You know, he's in his he's in his little hut and whatnot. He's chilling, you know what I mean, with everybody else in the hut. and he gets the call and he's reluctant to go, but then ultimately he decides that, you know, it's time for him to go on this mission and whatnot, and he'll never come back the same. The mission will transform him forever. Okay, forever and ever. That's the hero's journey. You know what I mean? Some of us signed up to go to the armed forces and whatnot, to go go to war, to go to battle, never to come back the same, right? You never to come back the same. You will be forever changed. Let's give a breakdown of what it is that we're talking about, because examples are better than me just speaking or teaching and whatnot. I want us to learn what it is that I'm teaching right now together. And I'm especially speaking to the creatives that are out there. Yesterday, you should have been in class with me and A.A. Rashid when we did our master class, because we had a masterful dissertation about empowering the creatives amongst us in order to have impact what it is that they're creating. There's a formula at play. There's a certain type of cheat code that could be utilized to, quote unquote, make your shit pop, right? Whether it's clothing, apparel, whether it's a movie script, whether it's your music or your music video, whether it's branding your business as a musician or whatever it is. There's ways to get the attention of the people who you want to, who you want to become either prospective clients, right, or customers. Okay, because we're talking business right now, right? Not how we feel and not what we think and whatnot. We're talking straight business. What could we do to create something, right, that's gonna either, live in perpetuity, right? Something that's recurring. We wake up to the sales of something that we created, like like a documentary, or we wrote a book. You feel me? Or we created an album and whatnot. So while we sleep, while we're doing something total, while we eat dinner and whatnot, while we entertain, our company, while we, change the diapers and shit like that, money is still being made. You don't have to be right there in order for revenue or in order for these exchanges to take place. You got your intellectual property on Amazon. They're going to do the work for you. You got it on Shopify and whatnot. Carry on with life. You have a digital product, right? You're part of the digital economy. You know what I'm saying? I cannot tell y'all the feeling of waking up, you feel me, to sales, waking up to money. That is a very refreshing, revigorating type of feeling. I encourage everybody to get a hold of it. You know what I mean? While you were asleep, okay, while you were asleep, while you was in the astral realm, while you were regenerating your body, okay, something was taking place in the realm of click and order, where people were on Amazon, eBay, wherever the marketplace is, and they were purchasing something from you. Okay, you could even do it to whereas you have a virtual assistant, so when you're sleeping, there's still somebody working, selling whatever it is that you have to offer, and then you wake up with results. That's a whole nother type of feeling. But to make a long story short, I'm giving this information out for those of us that are on our journey, of course, but definitely for those of us who want to utilize these formulas, right, to your creative process. Okay, and you're dedicating or livicating your time and your experience to begin to create something that lives longer than you. We need more of that. We need more product. We need more inventory. We need more intellectual property. We need more brands and whatnot. We need more of that, not things that are perishable, that, like, they're just like, they come and they go and whatnot. We don't really need any more of that. We need shit that's going to stand the test of time. But anyway, let's get into this real quick and just give you a real breakdown of what these quote unquote sections are. Okay. So in the departure part of the narrative, right? These are 17 stages. In the departure part of the narrative, the hero or the protagonist lives in an ordinary world and they receive the call to go on the adventure. Boom, they go on the adventure. They're helped by a mentor. The initiation section begins when the hero is traversing the threshold into an unknown or special world where he or she faces tasks or trials, either alone or with the assistance of helpers. Think Chronicles of Narnia. When they were walking into the closet becomes a portal. Think Pan's Labyrinth. When the tree trunk becomes a portal and then they cross into this labyrinth, they cross the thresholds into this new world, right? Think Ant-Man and Wasp and whatnot. When they open up the quantum universe, they cross into the threshold. Think Matrix, when he's able to put his finger through the mirror after taking the red pill and whatnot, and he goes through the mirror, that's the threshold, right? Into a new world. Think Dorothy going into the land of Oz and whatnot. After the tornado, waking up, you're no longer clicking her heel. You're no longer in Kansas, right? That's what that is. The initiation section begins with the hero then traversing the threshold to an unknown or special world where he or she faces tasks or trials, either alone or with the assistance of helpers. The hero eventually reaches the innermost cave or the central crisis of his adventure, where he must undergo the ordeal where he overcomes the main obstacle or enemy, undergoing apotheosis and gaining his reward, a treasure or elixir. In the return section, the hero must return to the ordinary world with his reward. Think Zelda rescuing the princess, right? He may be pursued by the guardians of the special world, or he may be reluctant to return, and he may be rescued or forced to return by intervention from the outside. The hero again traverses the threshold between the worlds, returning to the ordinary world with the treasure or elixir that he gained, which he may now use for the benefit of his fellow man. The hero himself is transformed by the adventure and gains wisdom or spiritual power over both worlds, right? So act one, departure, right? Number one, the call to an adventure. Number two, the refusal of the call, right? Like you get the call and you're in your doubtful self, you're refusing the call. You're like, I ain't going ahead with that. I don't know what that's about. Number three, supernatural aid. You get this supernatural aid, you get this intervention, this divine intervention from somewhere and whatnot, pointing you in that direction of the mission. You know what I'm saying? Number four, crossing the first threshold. Number five, now you in the belly of the whale. Okay, the belly of the whale. In the initiation act, which is act two, right? The road of trials. Number seven, the meeting with the goddesses, right? Remember the movie 300? He had to meet with the goddesses. That shows up in the oracle in the Matrix, the meeting with the goddesses. Number eight, the woman as the temptress, the woman in the red dress in the Matrix. Number nine, atonement with the Father. Number 10, apotheosis. I may be pronouncing that wrong. Number 11, the ultimate boon. Third act, return. Number 12, refusal of the return. 13, the magic flight. 14, rescue from without. 15, the crossing of the return threshold. 16, master of the two worlds. And 17, freedom to live, right? So it's extensive, right? It is extensive, but if you're into any type of story writing, any type of script writing, any type of character development, anything utilizing the imagination where you're fleshing out characters and presenting them to the world, you're going to want to study that. You really dive into that shit, like master that, get into that. I promise you, and you'll thank me later, right? So that leads me into breaking down the Dark Night of the Soul, right? especially during this month of Scorpio, right? A very dark month. The tail end of the Jason months. The end in Jason is November, right? This month commemorates the a Holocaust, which is Thanksgiving. It's a very dark. This is in a month Scorpio, and we also have Sagittarius coming at the tail end of it and whatnot. Scorpio is death, sex, regeneration, transformation, and whatnot. You dig what I'm saying? As we see in the beginning of this month, it has started out very violent and whatnot. A lot of people's energy is kind of like down and whatnot, especially the people inside of the hip hop culture and whatnot. After losing Takeoff, it's kind of like affected people in a you know, I would say, I don't want to use the word negative too tough because I don't want to make it seem like it's negative. You know, it's the wrong choice of words. Melancholy, right? Melancholy type of feeling is what I've been observing people having, and they're still somewhat befuddled and bewildered as to why him, you know, what did he do, you know, utilizing the Christianized mind state that only bad people die. Okay, utilizing the Sunday school mentality that only bad people die. This is a Hollywood concept. You understand? Everybody dies.
Everybody.
Eventually.
That part. You know, I don't want to startle you or anything, but shit, everybody dies. Okay. So, the dark night of the soul, understanding amidst the absence of meaning. Have you ever felt alone in a meaningless universe, unable to bear going through the motions, having no sense of direction, and feeling like you've lost all hope? You could be going through a dark night of the soul. The purpose of this article is to shed light on a deeply miserable process of growth to come out the other side a more conscious and mature individual.
To this day.
The dark night of the soul is a stage in personal development when a person undergoes a difficult and significant transition to a deeper perception of life and their place in it. This enhanced awareness is accompanied by a painful shedding of previous conceptual frameworks such as an identity, relationship, career, habit, or belief system that previously allowed them to construct meaning in their life. The dark night of the soul might sound unfamiliar, but it has a various relative conceptions in religion, mythology, and psychology. Some commonly associated conditions like existential crisis and forms of depression are more recognizable. Other related concepts include positive disintegration in psychology, soul loss, or the descent to the underworld in shamanism, catabasis in Greek mythology, and negrido, as Carl Jung symbolically understood it in alchemy. The dark night of the soul, aka Oscura Noche, however, references the name given retroactively to an untitled poem by the 16th century Roman Catholic priest and mystic St. John of the Cross, where he describes the anguish of the separation of an individual soul from God while in prison for his unconventional religious beliefs. So, what does the dark night of the soul mean? The dark night symbolizes an obscuration, and soul usually refers to an individual's true essence. In other words, the dark night of the soul is the obscuration of the true self. The obscuration may consist of a previous idea of what one believes about themselves or the world that is thrown into question. Okay? There could be no rebirth without a dark night of the soul, a total annihilation of all that you believed in and thought that you were.
To this day.
How many people can relate
To this day.
and have already gone through something of such a magnitude? Okay. How many people can relate? As we grow through different stages of life, we are influenced by many aspects of our surroundings. From birth, the family impresses upon a child a name, what the family believes, and what is acceptable and unacceptable. The education system further influences the child. In high school, the adolescence seeks the acceptance of the community as well as internalizes or rejects its values. At work, there is a role to play, and at home, many switch on the news or attend social gatherings where the topics of conversation can jump between media, the economy, or the failures and successes of their peers. Personal goals may be the goals of everyone else: to have nice clothes, a fancy car, a comfortable home, an attractive partner, and so on, without a thought of the why, what, or how of their personal experience. To a person who has bought into the regular motions of modern society, life can seem like it is on autopilot, guided by the ego and habit based on arbitrary and subjective conditionings from the surrounding culture. However, for many, there is a rude awakening. It could be a tragedy, an experience of a non ordinary state of consciousness. A person's faith flickers, as Ram Dass put it, a loss of a sense of objectivity, distrust in authority, an accident, a career change, an illness, or a realization that you don't know who you really are or what you want to do in your life. Or maybe you have everything you wanted and you're still unhappy. Ultimately, something shakes you out of your day-to-day limited perception of life.
To this day.
So,
To this day.
collectively, everybody went through what it is that I'm reading in 2020. Not everybody, of course, but a large majority of society collectively went through the dark night of the soul when the C-19 lockdowns happened and everybody was basically forced to sit down and, sit with themselves for a certain amount of time and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And then when they began to discover that everything wasn't what they were being told, everything that they were being told through mainstream media was being debunked online and whatnot, and red flags were being raised up, it began to challenge the notion of what individuals thought life was really about. They really believed in the government. They really believed in it.
To this day.
They really believed in big pharma. They really believed in mass media. They believed in CNN and NBC and Fox and all of that. They believed in Republican, Democratic. Like, they believed in these ideas and concepts that were sold to them, given to them, programmed into them, right? With nobody saying or stopping the person doing the programming. So the impressionable minds, the children sitting in school who showed up under the impression that whoever the teacher is, that they are superior to them because they know more than them. Whatever comes out of their mouth, whatever they say is law, right? So they've been lying, they've been deceiving, they've been dishonest, they've been spreading falsehoods. And when you wake up from that, and when you realize that that's the case and whatnot, it could completely throw you into an altered state of being. Okay. And it will have you looking in the mirror and asking yourself, who am I? Now, fast forward to where we're at today, right? With this conversation taking place on a global stage about who we are, or are we the lost tribe, right? Are we the chosen ones, right? Are we in the blood of Jesus, right? So a lot of people, they've never really seen it or heard about it, where people are rallying for our people to be opposite of what the majority of religious people see us as, and that's cursed. Curse the hand, right? Niggas see us as cursed, right? All of the three religions say that we're cursed, right? We have the curse of Ham. So the perception of us through the eyes of others somewhat skewed and whatnot, and especially through the eyes of us, the way that we see both ourselves and our family, right? Our tribes and shit. You know, we don't see the worth in each other. So that needs to be disrupted immediately. So this conversation is going on the world stage is imperative to the growth and development, to the upward mobility and the movement. And when I say the upward mobility, what I mean is us getting the fuck out of the sunken place and moving more upward into a higher way of carrying ourselves, expressing ourselves, and seeing ourselves. You dig what I'm saying? It can't be always from a base point. It can't be on your belly. It can't be in the pits of hell. It can't be in your red chakra all the time. That way of communicating with each other, it doesn't have its benefits, not a long-lasting type of thing. It's not beneficial to our health. Look at these niggas. Go outside and just look at these niggas with no discipline and nothing whatsoever, you know, stopping them from overindulgence and anything that they want to roll like pigs in a plate in a pig pen, right? Any type of mud that motherfuckers want to roll in, there's no restriction, there's no value system, there's nothing, there's no moral compass, nothing is stopping our people from getting into whatever they fucking want to get into that day, right? It's hands-on, everything. Everything's a go. So when you wake up to the fact that that ain't how this shit functions, that's really not how it is. It don't work like that for everybody. Because I'm sure that we all know individuals who that shit works out for. Once again, you cannot necessarily live vicariously, you know what I mean? Whatever that person, however that person puts on is not necessarily how your body is built for you to put on. You got to know your motherfucking role. There's not 20 quarterbacks on one team. There's only a few of them. It's the main quarterback and that nigga's backup. So everybody cannot be the quarterback. Everybody cannot be the running back. Everybody has a role to play. And whenever we figure out a system to start assigning roles and whatnot, and people will stand in their roles, then we just going to be chasing our tail because, God damn it, there's, you know, everything works everything works effectively with some type of order. You name something that works effectively in chaos. Please point that out for me. Last time I checked, if you're looking at a Swiss, one of those Rolex watches that don't tick and whatnot, all of those gears are working in tandem. The minute one of those gears start acting like they're the other gear, then it's gonna mess up the whole motherfucking watch. That's the same thing that goes with pistons in an engine. That's the same thing that goes for the organs in your motherfucking body. So why would that not relate? Why wouldn't the same thing apply for motherfucking waking life, everyday life, and how we're moving as a unit? The only way we could really approach this is to realize that when we have received the full conditioning of our society and have attained physical maturity, that perhaps we will be able to pause for a moment and try to find out a little more about ourselves. Usually, however, this moment of pause only comes when physical or emotional reverses break down the structure of the so-called physical, material, industrial plan for living. Now, who hit rock bottom out here? Whoever hit rock bottom out here, right? Whoever hit rock bottom where you got rabbit ears in your pockets and whatnot. Whoever hit rock bottom where you got to figure out where the fuck you going to sleep for the night. Whoever hit rock bottom to where there's you got all kind of bills and whatnot, and you don't know where the motherfucking money is going to come from, right? Whoever hit rock bottom to whereas you fighting all kind of cases and shit like that, and your legal aid is telling you that you facing life. Okay. And the way that the judge looking at you, you know that he got a nigger gripe. So you know that you are about to get lynched. You dig what I'm saying? I have a saying that says during crisis, you get to meet ISIS, right? It's for some of us who had to go through the fucking darkest days of our lives. We had to go through all kind of shit, heartbreak, near-death experiences and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Comas, you know what I mean? Car crashes, shit like that, fires and things of that, calamities, tragedy, trauma, to snap out of the motherfucking spell and to wake up and to see things for what they really are, right? During the dark night of the soul, a person can struggle with their sense of meaning in the world. Everything can seem purposeless, and it seems that there is no place where they belong. How many of the teenagers that we know, the young adults, the little ones that are out there, how many of them are facing the same thing, the dark night of the soul? They're searching for a purpose, right? They're being lied to by the woke movement. They're being lied to by the feminists. They're being lied to by alt-right. They're being lied to by the liberals. They're being pulled in all of these directions, and they're being told all of these half-truths and shit like that. And ultimately, in my humble opinion, from my observation, you know, the majority of the people that I know, maybe not everybody, but the majority of the people that I know, eventually everybody goes forth on a mission to find out who the fuck they are, even if they're not sharing it with the world. Secretly, behind closed doors, when no one is looking, even when they put their Bible down, there's something in them that's placing them on this journey and this mission and this walk to find out who the fuck they are. Because they're like, when I find that out, things are going to make more sense. I could be a billionaire, a millionaire. I could own properties, right? I could have a concubine with all of these women that are on my body and whatnot. I could have fame. I could have followers. But if I don't know mandatory shit, like who the fuck I am and who my great 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 grandmama is, there's gonna be a sense of void in one's life, and it could play out in your everyday life. It could play out in your it could psychologically affect you in a very negative manner when you don't know, when you have no foundation, right? So I give thanks for the fact that the conversation about, you know, the fez and the feather is taking place. The conversation about were we in the Americas prior to the slave ships is taking place. The concept of the quote unquote Jerusalem being in Peru, Jerusalem, right? Jerusalem, you know what I mean? From Horace Butler, The Rock Cries Out. All of these quote unquote tropes that are dominating 2022. When this year comes to a close, I'm going to do a year in review, and I'm going to lay it out and show how certain ideas and concepts and narratives were dominant throughout this year, or what rose up through the year, and what's on the top, and like what is on, you know, what's dominating the water cooler conversations. What are people really focusing on? What's the theme? Right? What's the theme that we could point to and whatnot? And to me, the theme of 2022 is about identity. Okay. Going into 23 and into 24, we're going to make some type of strides if we stay focused. That's if we stay focused, because we've been here before. We've been here before. We've even been further down the road and whatnot. But there's definitely something that always comes and takes people's minds completely off of the motherfucking prize and whatnot. We're easily distracted and swayed into different, you know, we're swayed on different sides of the fence, right? Like I said, the foundation is the nation. The foundation is the nation. If you know who you are and you know where you come from and you know what nation you belong to, you have a stronger foundation than somebody who don't know who the fuck they are and where they come from and who they belong to. You my daddy? You my daddy? You my daddy, right?
You my daddy? Are you my daddy? Daddy? Are you my daddy? Mama?
That's how they got us. We at that phase. But we gonna soon find out who we are and who we not. And you're gonna see how shit gonna change overnight when we got a foundation to really stand on, right? When we have something, nobody can lie to us at that point. They can't fool us. They can't sell us just anything. They can't suggest to us that we're anybody. They got to deal with us for where the fuck we stand. So I know a lot of people that feel like they say that they hate it here, right? They don't know what circle they belong to. They don't know what niche they belong to. They don't know what you know, they don't know what group they belong to, what gang they belong. They don't know where they fit in. It is quite easy to reluctantly succumb to a despondent nihilism as one floats in liminal space, a kind of purgatory. The allure of victimhood, comfort, and avoidance of responsibilities dwell in this place, but it comes with the cost of misery. But at least it's familiar. Now, if that don't describe the early stages of consciousness, then I don't know what the fuck does. You just waiting for the world to end. You so miserable at that point. You like, I don't want to contribute nothing to society. I found out that my people were slaves and whatnot, and we was in Black Wall Street. I'm so mad at white folk and myself. You know what I'm saying? That I'm just waiting for the world to end. I don't want to pay this phone bill. Fuck it. Because by the time my phone comes back on, the world is going to be over. That shit that you used to tell yourself, you know, because you were now fashioned, you were looking in the mirror and you were seeing a victimhood. You were comfortable in your victimhood. You didn't have any responsibilities. You didn't have anything, you know, you was just a victim. All you was doing, the white man, he's the reason, and he was nowhere to be found. It's no wonder people choose this option because unfortunately there is not much refuge for this in the fast-paced modern world, which can cause the pressure to outweigh a person's capacity, a threshold where the dark night of the soul can go from emergence to emergency with accompanying suicidal thoughts or apocalyptic hallucinations of death and destruction in extreme cases. There are usually intense feelings of sadness, frustration, hopelessness, meaninglessness, and a homesickness for a place that never was, right? So you know how people running around like they homesick of Planet X. Oh, I miss Nibiru. Oh my goodness, the more I read about the Anunnaki, I miss my home. Nigga, you ain't never been there.
To this day.
Let's stop it. Let's stop it. You ain't been there. How long does the dark night of the soul last? To take night literally would be a mistake. As with any spiritual crisis, it is highly idiosyncratic. There is no predetermined time, no normal experience, as it depends upon each individual. This night is more like a polar night, where due to the Earth's tilt, the area is in darkness much longer than a regular night and day, happiness and sadness, and the rest of the world the person is used to. This experience, however, as miserable as it may seem, hides extraordinary potential. Patience is essential, as any attempt to forcefully speed up the process will inevitably hinder it. You could put off the dark night of the soul in a world that can cater to your every sense with addictive pleasure or engage in over analysis. But the beginning of a way out of this dreary underworld is to be conscious where you once were naive, as well as letting go of the old parts of you that were conditioned, assumed, or habitual that really isn't in alignment with who you are. This usually must be accompanied by personal realization that can only come through contemplation, meditation, and relaxation.
To this day. To
Proper
this day.
contemplation must occur in the context of radical honesty. You can no longer lie to yourself about how you feel or tell yourself how you should feel. Meditation helps with the distractions and illusions of the mind. Relaxation is required because tension will not reveal how you feel, only that you are refusing to feel. Relaxation will allow openness and surrender. Without these things, the pressure of trying to figure out everything simply with tireless thought can easily burn you out, make you feel even more hopeless, and fill you up with a sense of dread and overwhelm. Dark night of the soul can convince you that it's just because you aren't doing enough. Your peers certainly might enforce this idea. So, real quick, imagine what social media is doing in the terms of the dark night of the soul. You log on, nigga, you not doing enough. You not doing enough. There's people out here getting it. They made $1 million today. You're not doing enough. You're not doing it big. You know what I mean? You don't have enough likes. You don't got enough followers. Where's your traction? You know what I mean? All of these things, these nuances and whatnot are pushing people to really be in a real, they're going through a level of this dark night of the soul. Their sufferations and whatnot. They're going through a lot of shit, chasing these new Joneses. They don't understand that there are feelings that you need to feel and hangups that you need to overcome in order to be functional again. Whipping yourself into submission won't work, as the mental pressure you are already under will fast lead to burnout. One thing to remember here is that for now, you don't need to be more, you need to be more, right? You need to be, right? You need to be more. You need to be able to switch off from everything external and come back to the basic experience of you being alive in the present moment. The hardest part of the dark night of the soul is to face your shadow, which contains the repressed parts of yourself, such as your fears, desires, traumas, and beliefs. Behind the dark night of the soul is the treasure of the underworld. It is guarded by a dragon, but you must go into the belly of this beast. If you turn away, it will slowly devour you. Because this is very difficult, there is a risk. One of the greater risks is to adopt an extreme ideology or another pathological complex. Instead of breaking boundaries within yourself, you strengthen them and try to tear down boundaries in the physical world. There are many enticing prepackaged ideologies for sale, from religious dogma, conspiracy fanaticism, or extreme activism. These are propelled forward by perverting the course of suffering. Okay, you see how people jump from one thing to another in this community? They jumped out of Christianity right into zealotness of Hebrew Israelites, right into the zealotness of the Moors, you know what I mean, and turning that into a church, right into the zealotness of the quote unquote FOI, NOI, Nation of Islam mentality. You know, they religion hopping, you know. It is only natural for someone to seek wisdom in this time of suffering, and it is helpful in breaking down previous ideas. But these groups allure people with their half truths and lead down a path of misguided agenda. The same trap that is a common cause of the dark night of the soul, a misplaced identity. Understanding the process you are going through and that you are not alone is a great first step in finding some fragments of meaning to hold on to again. Once a small amount of meaning returns, it will then give hope, in turn, affecting the frustration and sadness, introducing a sense of feeling more at ease in the process. So, do y'all understand what's going on? So we don't take too many things personal in our lives. You know what I mean? These challenges that many of us have faced over the past few months or really the past few years and whatnot. We're being initiated. We're going through an initiation. Okay. We're going through an initiation. This is something that you cannot run away from, nor shy away from, nor something that you could act like you're a victim of, because this is some shit that you asked for. Okay. This is what you asked for. And it's here now. You know? And if you run from it, it only gets worse. It would behoove you to face it. And I'm speaking to myself as well. Once again, I have to use that disclaimer that when I'm communicating with y'all, I'm also communicating with myself, okay? Because there's work to be done on all fronts, you know. So that's just my disclaimer. For the people that just got in the building, I feel compelled to let you guys know that yesterday, right? Just yesterday, a few hours ago, me and my good brother A.A. Rashid, it was his birthday, his born day yesterday. We did a monumental presentation on KTL University, and it was called the art class, all right? A.A. Rashid's art class. If you don't know, the brother A.A. Rashid is he is a consultant on a few multi-million dollar brands inside of the culture, Griselda being one of them. He is an artistic director, you know I'm talking about, a creative director, and his fingerprints are on some iconic things, you know what I'm saying? He's a beast behind the scenes when it comes to you know, his design language, okay? He designs apparel, he designs books, he's an interior designer. He's designed clothes, toys, books, and a few other things. And the class that he gave yesterday about art, for anybody that's in that field and whatnot, that is a must see. I promise
To this
you.
day.
That is a must
To
see.
this day.
He gave up a lot of game, shit that you just not finna get on Udemy or Skillshare, TED Talks, you know, because they don't talk like how we talk. They got their own version of game that I appreciate. You know, I like white people game, but they don't talk like we talk. They don't give up the same type of game that we give up, and vice versa. So, you know, that part. But you know, I'm not gonna be here all night. Like I said, this is my Finsta account. I just made sure that on my birthday that I was live on YouTube and it wasn't all of this fucking silence, and you know, no content was being created and no lives were being you know, uploaded and whatnot. So we had to do this for the gram, we had to do this for the tube, we had to do this for the audience, because y'all don't know, sometimes y'all not realizing what's going on when we just disappear. It's like, where the hell, what happened to the channel? Well, according to Google, I should be getting back the page tomorrow. They're gonna lift the restrictions. They wouldn't let me post in I couldn't upload anything to my posts. I couldn't put nothing on the stories, and I damn sure couldn't go live. So, you know, inshallah, tomorrow that shit will change and we'll be able to go live, bring you some beautiful content. We have a special guest on Wednesday. I'm aiming to have a special guest pull up, and you know, we'll see what happens. You know what I'm saying? We'll see what happens. Thank you, my cash appers who sent the cash app. I'll say your names real quick. You know what I mean? Just to make sure that on our birthday, I got to put this on the records that on my birthday, these were the people that supported, you know what I'm saying, with their not just with their words, but with their actions. And to me, that is more honorable than anything that you can do. You know what I mean? You know, the actions of the actions, you know what I'm saying? Because words, it just don't do it. You know what I mean? No offense to the words for the wordsmiths out there, but word alone is you know, we can't, it's not faith alone, it's by the works. You know what I'm talking about? Let's get religious. So Mike, thank you, Mike. Thank you, EJ. Thank you, Reggie. Thank you, Erica, Jerome. Thank you, King. Thank you, Nelson. Thank you, Latte. Thank you, Yashay. Thank you, Richie, legend. Thank you, Jovan. Thank you, Benjamin. Thank you, Wayne. You know, it's love out there. It's definitely love. Thank you, Destiny. You know what I'm talking about? So yeah, man, I appreciate the support and you know, the B-Day love, because that's very important. You know what I'm saying? You always want to feel appreciated by those who, you know, you give your time and your energy to. You know, that's very important. You know what I mean? Because I don't show up to where I'm not appreciated. You know what I mean? My mama didn't raise no fool, and my mama didn't raise no thought. You know what I mean? So I'm damn sure not going to show up to where the love is not at. You know what I'm saying? So you know, I can't do that. You know what I mean? That goes against my nature. So you know, we continue to love, then we continue to show up. That's how that works. It's a reciprocation. You know, like I said before, I don't adhere to any of their business models. We don't have no arrangements with none of these brands and whatnot. We like Ye in this bitch. We like, you know, we barefooted with our chain. We barefooted in Hollywood with our fucking chain out. Shout out to Dave Chappelle for that wonderful stand-up. That was classic. He reminded us that we needed to laugh a little bit, a lot of tension because of the pain that the takeoff death was causing the family in hip hop, you know. And even if you like, I don't even know who Takeoff is. I don't listen to that. Well, shit, kudos to you. You know what I'm saying? Poindexters. But I'm talking about the energy of the collective, and you could feel it. You know what I mean? If you claim that you're an empath and you're tapped into the people, you don't have to listen to him. You could tell through the energy that was on the timeline, the collective energy, the resonance. I got my ears to the ground. I gotta be tapped in because I gotta know what the fuck is going on, and the energy that's being shared. You know, that's important for a person such as myself that's outside. So I felt the collective energy. It was down. You know what I mean? It just stopped raining in Georgia the other day. It was raining nonstop. It was very gloomy, nonstop. So, you know, we needed some laughter. You know, laughter is good for the soul. So Dave Chappelle comes through Saturday Night Live, and he opens that bitch up only the way that Dave can. Very smart, witty humor. I'm into witty comedy. I like thought-provoking comedy and music and whatnot. So he delivered it, and of course the small hats are butthurt, and they're like, "Oh, he was coming to," you know, you can't do anything to please them. We've already had this conversation, and I'm not gonna have more convos about them. But you know, they are in their, you know, they're in their inferiority complex. You know, it has a lot to do with Mars being in retro and Gemini communications. People are being exposed that necessarily were hiding underneath the quote unquote cloaks for a very long time behind the curtain and whatnot. And they had a lot of their front people in the front. They you know what I mean? It's almost like in football when the motherfucking quarterback is protected by that line of defense. So the corporations use the rappers and the entertainers as buffers. They had a lot of buffers at, you know what I mean, doing a lot of the buffing. You know, the buffers were doing a lot of the buffering and whatnot. So their hands wasn't always out there to be seen. Now during this retrograde, you see their hands all over the place. You see their fingerprints on everything. They're being exposed in ways that they haven't been exposed in a long time. You know what I'm talking about? If I was a small hat in the all black college, I would probably take a week off. The tension is thick right now. They being exposed. You know what I mean? They dirty laundry is being aired out on the socials and whatnot. I don't know how y'all niggas timeline be looking, but my shit be looking lit. You know what I mean? It's a lot of truth tellers, and they in a Birkin bag. They on a horse, my nigga. They on a pale horse. They riding through town. You know what I'm talking about? Niggas is stepping. Walk, walk, walk. Yeah, they out here spinning the block. Every day I wake up, it's bodies on my timeline. They done drug some falsehoods into the town square and strung them niggas up. You know what I mean? It's a lot of lynching going on of falsehoods. You know what I mean? They tarring and feathering that shit and they burning it up. They not apologizing. You know, there's a war against ignorance. We are in what is considered to be a culture war right now, alongside and juxtaposed to some type of spiritual warfare where they sending signals through the air and shit like that. You be like, nigga, that's not my thoughts. The fuck? I didn't think that. That's not an original thought. Why is that even in my head? You know, there's a culture war taking place right now, right underneath our motherfucking noses. We're not paying attention. Like I said before, the real war is against the title, or the real war is against that documentary. It's not about Ye or Kyrie. They really want to begin to censor the intellectual property, the documentaries that have a huge impact. They want to do that. They want to take certain books. They want to begin to censor our books, our authors, so the ISIS papers becomes harder to find, and Hidden Colors becomes harder to find, and everything by Yosef Ben Yakinen becomes harder to find, because you better believe the ADL and these quote unquote illegitimate organizations, they already got the names of the people that they want to quote unquote blackmail, shadow ban, deplatform and debank and all of that. We're in a social credit system these days, okay? Similar to what China has implemented on their citizens, however, not as draconian, because this is not a communistic, this is an alleged de facto democratic party demonstration and whatnot. So they can't just roll out the social credit system right on top of your head tops, but they showed you, right, by debanking Kanye West and basically making it to seem like, all of these corporations were weaponized against him. That is a telltale sign of what the future holds for the social credit system in America. Okay? Where if you talk crazy about the government, your ass won't even be able to get on a Greyhound. You won't even be able to rent an apartment. Your social media history will be dug up, and all of that reactionary shit that you was doing during all of these black protests, when you was talking, you was in your emotional bag, so you was a little anti-white for that day on your Twitter. Yeah, all of that shit is gonna go against your credit score. So stop being push button reactionary and letting these people, see you sweat. Like Dave Chappelle showed you in the monologue, you can't show your hands in show business. You can't just be a comedian, sneak that shit through. You have to be crafty with your warfare. That's why in this lecture that we did yesterday, I spoke extensively about the fantasy industry. All right. I spoke extensively about the many different angles that you could enter into this intellectual or this culture war through. You could onboard yourself through the fantasy industry. And the fantasy industry consists of multiple industries. The fantasy industrial complex.
To this day.
Fantasy industrial complex, which consists of comic books, which consists of video games and digital games, which consist of the movies, or what they call cinema, Hollywood, which consists of cartoons, because we all played with cartoons when we were coming up as children. So we know the effects of what the cartoons had on our psyche and whatnot, and how we were fashioning ourselves behind these cartoons that we were in love with. G.I. Joe, Transformers, Voltron, He-Man, you name it, Thundercats. That's my generation. You know what I'm saying? I know you niggas with Teletubbies and Power Rangers and whatnot, but that's not my generation. I don't claim that shit. Animation, right? Animation. When my son goes to play on Netflix Kids, when he goes to Netflix Kids to watch some type of content, it's endless titles, endless content, endless whatchamacallit, endless what's the email? Oh no, I don't do PayPal. I'm sorry, Division. I refuse, man. You know what I mean? I stopped rocking with them years ago. I refuse to. Once I found out who Peter Thiel, the owner of PayPal, the MAGA LBGT racist dude, I was like, I'm not fucking with them. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing no. I'm not. No sure, Bob. I got the fuck up out of there. You know, so. What was we talking about? Yes. So I was talking about the fantasy industry, right? Languages too, right? So on Netflix Kids and on YouTube Kids, it's about 1,000 different titles of children's animation. It wasn't like that years ago. That shit exploded because of the technology stepped it up. And I'm like, well, here we go. Here we have it. Here, look at what we have here, right? The opportunity for our people, right? And when I say our people, I'm talking about people who think like us, you know what I'm saying? And we were raised by some of the same master teachers. So we have an overstanding, we speak the same language, right? So our people could begin to create their own characters from their own imagination or their own folklore. That is very important, that we begin to create our own characters from our own folklore, right? And we interject these characters into the psyches of our children and other people's children. Okay, you can't have the pro-black teddy bear either. It has to be, you have to utilize some sort of alchemy. You know what I mean? This is when we see how creative we are. You know what I'm talking about? You got to put the medicine in the food, right? Like Dave Chappelle told Ye, you need to buy some motherfucking time. Learn how to buy some more time. Because you running around like this is the motherfucking end of it, and it's not. Buy some time, do some work, and utilize, get behind enemy lines. Don't show your fucking hand. That's never been, even in what game of life do we play that does that work? Does it work in spades? Do you show your hand there? Jim Rummy? Like what game did you play? If you playing basketball and you tell the dude, I'm going this way. If you playing chess and you like, I'm about to move this way, you don't tell nobody your next move and you don't show your hand. You show up, you fuck shit up, and then you get up out of there. You don't show your hand. Okay? And I'm talking to grown people, so we shouldn't even be having this conversation. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? The comedian is the expert at getting away with saying what needs to be said and not losing his or her head, right? We need more witty comedians to speak in that same type of, to stand in that same type of Chappelle, spotlight, right? We need some more witty ass comedians that are not afraid. Richard Pryor was not afraid. He was not afraid. He was calling them cracker to their face when that shit could have got you drugged out and strung up somewhere. He was not afraid. He was getting across some very uncomfortable points by making jokes about them to their face.
To this day.
Right to their face, blowing smoke in their face, and they was laughing it up. Dick Gregory too. So all you funny ass niggas out there, get your shit together, tighten up your motherfucking president, get out there. Where's our conscious comedians? It gotta be somebody in this circus. You know what I mean? This shit is too circus lights for it not to be some motherfucking Def Comedy Jam talent laying around waiting to be discovered. You dig? Shout out to all of my birthday twins. The evil emperor, King Charles, ruling over you niggas in the UK. In it, man. He's born today. Boozy Badass, my dark hermit twin. Out there in Baton Rouge, wherever the fuck you at, Boozy Badass, you know what I mean? He's born on my born day, you know what I'm talking about? So salute to them, you know. But I'm about to unplug and, you know, call it the night. We're going to end it off with the Facts song. Remember, North Carolina, we will be in the building with you, Greensboro, but Charlotte, to be exact, on that Friday, November the 26th, I believe, the day after Thanksgiving. We call it Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving. Thank you for living. You know what I mean? And instead of Black Friday, we giving you Facts Friday. Any vendors in the Charlotte area who have some bomb-ass brands and whatnot, we got about 3 slots left. You could reach out to me on the email. Let me put that up and whatnot. Or, yeah, you can hit me on the email, the mark125th@gmail. That's right there on the ticker, the red ticker that you see. There goes the email, the mark125th@gmail. Use this email to contact me for anything business related and whatnot. That will be the email that you could reach me at. Okay. The Mark 125th Street. You dig? And with that being said, I do appreciate every single brother and sister in the building tonight, especially those who you know, was given the birthday love and whatnot. Thank you. I appreciate you. You know, like I said, this year was a very trying year, but we made it through. We pushed through, you know what I'm saying? And we got some very powerful things that are coming up in this cycle of 27, this 47 cycle. Stay tuned, my geniuses.
Okay, the food, the art, the clothes. We put this show on the road. The Vatican getting exposed. You better stay on your toes. Repo, tilling the land, focus on the eco. Open my heart, let go of the ego. Ran out the grind, I'm stacking up these C-notes. Facts, facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts. Found out the hacks, put it in 80 rand. Facts, facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts. We in your city, pull up what we had. Facts.
And that's facts though, I talk factos. That's J Babe, I go Astro. Floating focused on my cash flow. We plant star seeds to make the grass grow. I'm a refloater, I do what I wanna. Stacking the winter, sunbathing the summer. My chakras aligning, I shock them like Blanco. Only Pope we acknowledge a nigga is Paulo.
At these events, I'm a god to my people. Got out the streets, yeah, we dodging a Rico. Game of roulette, I'm a casino. The game wasn't fair, yeah, the odds wasn't equal. Squad got the Chico, my squad got the Chico. Came in a drought, yeah, they starving the people. Blaming and doubt, make it harder to eat, yo. Not a placebo, that's not a placebo.
The food, the art, the clothes. We put this show on the road. The Vatican getting exposed. You better stay on your toes. Repo, tilling the land, focus on the eco. Open my heart, let go of the ego. Ran out the grind, I'm stacking up these C-notes. Facts, facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts. Found out the hacks, put it in 80 rand. Facts, facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts, facts. We in your city, pull up what we had. Facts, facts.
Started in Richmond, art of my district. Heart of the mystics, started for biscuits. Father the isfits, martyr the misfits. God is my witness, God on my hit list. Moving the weight, we started with fitness. Moving with states, we art of the richest. Give me the blues, my heart is in Memphis. It's part of adventure, started my venture. The F is for food, the A is for art. The C is for clothes, I'm playing my part. T is for check, I'm playing it smart. S is for shelter, I stay in the park. Acres on acres, get lost in the dark. We playing a part, we playing it smart. Facts, facts,
okay.
Yeah.
The food, the art, the clothes. We put this show on the road. The Vatican getting exposed. You better stay on your toes. Repo, tilling the land, focus on the eco. Open my heart, let go of the ego. Ran out the grind, I'm stacking up these C-notes. Facts, facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back.